Coming to you live from the Show Me State, the birthplace of James Mercer Langston Hughes. It's the Colbert Connection. Your hosts, Melody and Danica, are connecting you to the world through Facebook Live with today's hot topics and creative conversations. I'm your announcer, Dr. Colbert, working hard for a free meal and a bottle of crushed grapes. And now, here's your host of the Colbert Connection, Melody Colbert King and Danica Colbert.
That electoral college, popular vote situation.
Let's talk about the electoral college. I mean, y'all tell us, do we still need the electoral college?
No, ma'am. Oh, that's my 2 cents. I'm sorry. What did y'all think about that?
It's electoral versus the popular vote.
So why don't you tell us, a great one?
No, I want to know why you say no, we don't need it.
Okay, so here's the conversation that happens with the younger crowd, right?
Okay.
Why go cast a vote when my vote doesn't count when it comes to presidential election?
Yes.
Because then you have to explain, what is this 13 or 22 electoral votes and where do they come from, and are they not based on the popular vote?
Yeah, because they're supposed to be what the will of the people. Electoral is representatives of the people, and it's supposed to count for their vote, and it's, oh, that's the way they went, then that's the way we're supposed to vote.
Right.
Okay. Does it happen all the time? I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, we're still trying to find out if we happen to mail in our ballots, if those are going to get where they're supposed to be.
Well, they said that everything is supposed to flow how it's supposed to go. I'm just saying.
I saw on the news, CNN even.
Okay.
Name dropped it. Check this out.
What's that sound like?
That a mail truck was dropping off bags of mail behind a spa. So I just was wondering.
Well, we can take it, or
if I vote by mail.
Don't vote by mail. Go to your poll places if you can. If you cannot, then go to your clerk place where you can get your absentee ballot.
I just was wondering.
And Missouri has to be done by October the 21st.
We will confirm that date.
It should be on your screen on what it should be.
We will confirm that date for you.
But nonetheless, register to vote.
Register, and let's check out these debates. I'm interested to see how those go down.
Yes.
It should be brutal.
Kamala and Pence are supposed to both be in a place where they're supposed to do debates on the issues.
When?
October.
Ooh.
I mean, let's get it real close to the election.
I was wondering. I was like, I feel like we saw quite a few last round before now, but am I crazy?
Well,
maybe it's the pandemic.
It's the
Got
pandemic.
to step back a little bit.
The pandemic is still happening.
Yes.
Yes, we are still in COVID era.
Yeah.
And
so,
I think the latest thing shows that we've risen up the ranks again.
Missouri?
We've risen up. I'm educated, y'all. I am.
Edumacated.
Anyway, we're climbing the ranks, and we are getting up there again with the counts.
Well, we did just have Labor Day, and the lakes looked like they were full and popping.
But you know what? That's what gets me. It keeps saying the counts have went up, but in a day, I mean, doesn't it take a couple of days to get your test back? I'm just saying.
That's a great question.
I mean,
I think
if you
it
can
depends.
get it in a day,
I
let
think
us
it
know.
depends if it's a positive or a negative test.
It doesn't make a difference.
No,
If
no.
you take the test.
If it's positive, you'll get it back expeditiously. If it's negative, it might take
I
you a
ain't
couple
buying
of
it.
days.
Not buying it, America. Not buying it. It's too many discrepancies. That's all I'm saying. Expeditiously.
That's the word for the day.
How many of y'all have got your test back expeditiously
Expeditiously.
in less than a day or a day?
I don't know.
Just want to know.
I'm
Just
grateful
wanna
that I
know.
haven't had to take one.
Amen.
So we're just going to leave it at that.
For that, we're just going to say amen.
Big week.
Yes.
Thursday.
Boom.
Oh, we're supposed to start with this.
In
NFL. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, do your dance.
That's how I was gonna do it.
We are already ahead. I just want to let you know. The score is 6-5, Chiefs over the Texans.
What?
Yeah, already. This is what is on the injury report.
It's okay to dream. It's okay to
No,
dream.
this is the injury report. We got 6 down. They've
Uh-oh.
got 5 down. Yeah, this is where we're at.
Oh, man.
We're up.
Well,
We're already ahead of the game.
I don't even know.
I wasn't even bothered about the injury report until I saw Travis Kelce went on it yesterday. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Look,
Oh,
ooh.
yeah. And he plays tight end.
Tight
Wait, we're
end.
just gonna stop there.
What she
Give
said,
it a minute. Tight end.
This is a kid-friendly show, and so we're just giving out the description.
Yes, that's the position that he plays.
That's the position.
Tight end. But he's out with an injury.
Darn.
But I have no doubt he'll be ready to go by Thursday.
So we'll see what the Chiefs are going to do. This is a remake of one of the playoff games.
I know what they're going to do.
Okay.
I just want to put that out there.
Okay. I'm not either way.
I know there's
I mean,
some Chiefs fans out there. I see our casting director is online, and I know he is an adamant fan.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And
They're
it's
ready.
okay. Be ready.
Be ready. So big week, lots of games. Lots of games.
Lots. It's NFL season is back.
Whew.
But people are complaining. They say the players need to just play. They don't need to take stances on anything that's happening in America. They just need to play.
How dare anybody use their platform to
How
make a
dare
stance?
they? How dare they? Because, how did civil rights era get, it took more than one group of people.
You know,
It took
that's-
platforms.
It's kind of interesting that you say that because, speaking of platforms, the fellow Jacob Blake, right?
Yes.
He
Yes.
used his platform in a hospital room. You see
Man.
that? He went live.
He gave
Think
an
about
update.
this. Nobody even knew of a Jacob Blake
Never.
until, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago?
Yep.
And now he's going live, got more hits than you, me, and everybody else.
I mean,
This is crazy.
big name.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Well, I don't want to go be famous for that. So,
No, I don't.
You
No,
can
I
keep
don't wanna be a
that.
hashtag.
No.
But unless it's Colbert Connection.
Yeah,
that's
we'll
all.
take that one. But other than that,
I want to be here until it's time for me to go.
yeah.
And that ain't no time soon. So if I should come up, gone, y'all better look into it because it's planned by somebody. I am not trying to kill myself, just so you know. Put that out there.
That went left really quick.
It really did. So vaccines.
Yeah. I hear we're supposed to have one. What's the election date?
November 3rd.
We're supposed to have one by November 3rd.
No, yeah, we're gonna have it by November the 1st.
Oh, that's true.
That's
Okay,
that's what's being reported. Because when it first hit, it was going to take at least 2 to 5 years. But man, miraculously, we have got it down.
Expeditiously.
Expeditiously,
Yes.
have gotten that down
Uh-huh.
to less than a couple months away now.
Wow.
I
I will not be in line first to take one.
I will not be in line ever to take one. Just saying, put that out there now.
Yeah.
Not ever. I didn't take the flu vaccine.
Yeah, I've
I'm
never
not
been.
gonna take
No,
that.
not big on those.
I mean, it's
Because, what you're doing is giving yourself the bacteria or the whatever.
yes. All vaccines have a portion of that virus or whatever it is in there, so your body can supposedly build up this immunity. And yeah,
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good too. And eat fruits, eat vegetables, build up your minerals, eat some dirt. Just build your body back up because it's going to have it so clean that you're not going to be able to. As soon as you get out of the house, you're going to catch whatever's out there.
She said eat dirt.
I mean,
Okay,
I'm
quote
just
that.
saying.
That's a hashtag. Eat dirt.
Back in the day when we was growing up, did we or did we not eat dirt?
No, ma'am.
Yes, you did. You picked stuff off
No,
the
ma'am.
5-second rule, all that. We picked stuff up. Yes, you ate dirt. You may not remember it, but you ate dirt.
Because I was probably hanging with you. It was a rough crowd.
Yeah,
rough crowd.
we knew what we had to do. Parents wasn't going to feed us anytime. You're going to eat once, you're going to eat twice. That's it.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway.
We digress.
Yes. We got to have some fun, you know. This is a fun show. This is a speak your mind show. Kind of
Please.
say what you want to say.
Sometimes.
We want y'all to say we want your opinions.
We did. We actually got questions for today's guest.
I
I'm
know,
excited about
I'm
that.
excited. Thank you for submitting those questions, guests. We appreciate that, and we will make sure and give them answers. And we can't do them all, but we will pick out some to get answered. But we thank you for submitting them. Even we
Yes.
appreciate that. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. Our guest today, which is going to be Dr. Moss with the Joplin school system, and it's interesting because how school is going right now. You know, we're what, 2 weeks? A week and a half?
I mean, it depends if you're the A group or the B group. But I
Yes.
say that to be funny, but I bet this is not anything she's ever planned for in all of her years of superintendent, assistant superintendent, school
Right.
systems. How do you plan for this?
And see, this must be a recurring theme with the Colbert connection, because we got we had
The JPD?
we had
Sloan?
yes, and he was just hired for. I mean, even though he's been with the police system, he was just hired for Joplin as the police chief. And then we had Dr. Van Galen from
That's true.
MSSU that just got hired,
Lots of
like
firsts,
as
yes.
he kept telling us, 7 weeks. So it's been about 9 weeks now. So you're in there now. And you know, and then Dr. Moss, she's just gotten hired like, I can't remember, it wasn't very long ago, maybe a year. Has it been a year yet? It might have been a year. So, but I'm just saying, it's a recurring thing here. I'm kind of wondering what we got going here.
Well, lots of firsts around
Lots of
here at the
firsts.
Colbert Connection.
It's the Colbert connection. We
Mm.
try to, you know, we try to be first at some things, like getting these people on here so they can interact with the community,
Absolutely.
tell them what's going on, and get some feedback, which is what we want to do. So,
Without further ado.
absolutely. Dr. Moss, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I am so excited. I'm excited because there's so much going on with the back to school, this new back to school.
Yes.
Normally kids are excited. They're like, yeah, we're going back to school after being off for so long.
And
But
parents are excited to get them there, right?
no one is more excited than the parents. But they've been out since March.
Yes.
So this is like the spring break that never ended.
Exactly. I was just going to say the longest spring break ever.
Ever. And so, I mean, just give us a little insight on what you have going as far as expressing to the public
Okay.
kind of how school was going to start and what you're hoping to see.
Okay. Well, that's a big question.
I know. So
And
narrow
I'm
that
not
down
sure
to what
how
you're hoping
long
to
we
see.
have. You know, we started planning from the get-go.
Okay.
And you're right in your introductory remarks. This is unprecedented. Nobody tells you what to do in these situations. Nobody had this class
There's no
when they were
guidebook.
in college. So we all collaborate a lot. And our health department, Dan Pekarik, his team, they've been amazing.
Wonderful.
And they're learning right alongside. We're learning and trying to watch all that the CDC and everybody's putting out. And in the beginning, we were watching the news voraciously every day. And at some point, we said, you know, we're just going to have to go with what we know. And even over the summer, we were writing reentry plans and planning. And we even had a community, kind of a task force group that met with us and shared insights from the hospital and other locations. So ultimately, we had a reentry plan, and we have a lot of sanitation and disinfecting protocols. We have some mask protocols for all of our students at certain parts of the day, and when they're in transition, and when you know, certain groups are purposely put in, let's say, a lab partner situation or something, then we mask up, and there's seating charts for everything, because we have to track who were they within 6 feet for more than 15 minutes through their day, because it's not a question of if there's a positive, it's when there's a positive test. Then we have to go back and contact trace the students and the staff, because we can't forget faculty and staff in this, to determine then the quarantines. So we have worked hand in hand with our hospitals and our community leaders and just tried to figure this thing out as we go. I am happy to report now that we are in since August 24th that I expected after about 2 weeks had passed, because that's kind of that incubation period, what's it going to look like? And we started back today, Tuesday, after Labor Day holiday, and it's too soon to know the effects of Labor Day. That'll come about 10 days out. Right. Or the football game.
Yes, ma'am.
But so far our numbers are holding pretty steady to what they were when we started school, because we already had students that were either quarantined and or isolated because of household contact, community contact, because we know if we're in school or not, they're still out and about.
Right.
And so we're just trying to be very diligent in all that we do and communicate that to the parents and at the building level. And we've even started a new software platform that's through our old work order system, but we're now finding that it's great for inputting our staff and student isolations and quarantines. And so we're tracking that, and the health department, through a memorandum of understanding, they can log in and input that data as well, because we have a partnership with our city health department. So it's just a matter of constant communication. But as you pointed out, cases have had a bit of an uptick in Jasper County as well as the city. Not alarmingly so, but we're seeing a little rise in numbers. So as they get more overloaded with all their duties, because they have a finance staff, then we're able to work together for that contact tracing and get the word out. So, and it changes. It changes every 5 minutes. So.
You say all that, and all I keep thinking is, how many people did you have to add, or roles did you have to change to make that happen?
Oh, a lot.
Just to get that
A lot. You know, Joplin Schools has about 7,600 students, and then we have about 1,200 employees. So that's a lot of people to keep track of. A lot of people.
So tell me what the ratio, and I'm speaking specifically of high school.
Okay.
If you can, and you don't want to put you on the spot with that, but
No, it's
the
okay.
ratio of who decided to do virtual and how
Yes.
many you have going with the split shift.
Right. Well, virtual is an option K-12.
Right.
And so we're doing that kindergarten through 12th grade this year.
Oh.
And we offered our own virtual platform. So we have a Celis for our kindergarten through 8th grade students. And then we have Edgenuity for our secondary students. And through that, we've had about 1,500 of our 7,600 students migrate to the virtual option. And they had to make that decision by a deadline in August, because then we had to transfer teachers from in-person to virtual and gear up with our platform licenses and get Chromebooks out to the families. And it's been a lot of Herculean effort by our tech department, as well as we have an administrator that's over that. And she's worked extra this summer just trying to get it all going. And kudos to our teachers, because they have
To all of you guys.
thank you. And they have pivoted on a dime.
Yeah.
So of those, about 300 or so of those were high school students. So that took us down to about 1,900 or so high school students. And then now that we have our AB days, then that number's cut in half every other day. And that has made it feasible to practice some social distancing, because it's not unusual at the high school level. We might have 30, 31 kids in a freshman English class.
Yes.
And there's just no way in those scenarios, as well as hallway transfers and lunches. So we're looking at developing some metrics now for when do we feel like it's going to be safe and reasonable to bring them all back together, because ideally we want our kids there all the time.
And they would like to be with their friends, because
Yes.
I know my daughter, she's a freshman, and half of her friends are in the A through K or whatever it is, and the
Yes.
other half, and so it's
Yes.
like, oh, we don't get to see each other. And,
Yes.
and that's hard on, especially freshmen.
It is, and we want to keep track of our students, and I know that our teachers are monitoring. Are they logging on to Canvas? Are they turning their work in, and trying to keep them engaged?
That's
But
the key.
it's ideal when we can all be together.
I know.
We're social beings.
That's what I keep saying. This is not normal for us.
No.
We're not supposed to do
No,
that.
we've seen.
Is it going to become the new
No,
normal?
it is not.
I-
I'm going to claim it now.
So far, we've seen a rise in mental health issues, a rise in substance abuse. We've been very concerned about, domestic abuse situations because the hotline calls just about went away,
Yeah.
when we had to close. So, there's concerns.
Yeah.
And we
Well,
have to weigh the benefit cost
Right.
of all that.
Because people's coping mechanisms, it's like they don't have an outlet, which is school for a lot of them, for a lot of the school age kids anyway. And it's like, now what do they have?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that interaction is gone. So I had a question that was posed to me. This is just having to do with the way the schools are going now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, wouldn't it be logical or more logical to have the teachers go from room to room instead of the students because it lessens the contact? Or did you guys maybe consider that?
We did that some over the summer with our specials classes
Okay.
because in the summer when you had smaller groups, then the like the music teacher or the art teacher, and they could rotate from room to room. But once you get to the secondary level, and your high school are taking so many choices, it's not the same math, it's not the same science, and we've got just too many configurations. But what we have tried to do is, as we've scheduled those students, make sure they're setting alphabetically, make sure that, again, we're minimizing what the potential quarantine would be when there's a positive
Right.
case.
Makes
And
sense.
if they can travel more and more in the same herd, then that helps.
Gotcha.
So does that mean CNC, right?
Yeah.
I would be sitting by her all day.
As many classes as you took the same.
That would be a long day.
It's a long day. Yeah,
But-
like,
But you might take band, and she may choose to take, choir, or she may be in physics, and you may choose trig, and so.
never choose It's there until I had to.
This is true.
So there is a lot of variability.
Well, that makes a difference. I can understand that.
I think it would be so hard. When I just think back to and granted, I went to Thomas Jefferson, so
Right.
I have much smaller classes, and they probably don't have an A and a B day. But when I think about cutting it in half and only seeing half of your, and what if it's senior year? That's where my head goes.
Yeah.
Like, I feel for those seniors of last year.
Yeah.
But this year, it's like you only get to see half of your friend. That's just
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's
Yeah.
a lot. So how do you guys treat this different than, say, an outbreak of flu that happens? I mean, what extra measures are we, because we get when the flu season, which we hear nothing of anymore because it's COVID.
It's been a bit overshadowed.
Yeah, but how do you, what's different?
Well, I think there's no vaccine yet for this, and I think because people can get flu shots, and flu's been with us for a long time, we have a certain comfort level when we hear of the flu. There's a lot of unknowns still with this, and it's a scary thing for people. And so what's different is way more attention to formalizing our disinfecting, and we have hand washing schedules for the kids, and we're eating in the classroom. We're not, especially at the elementary level. Now, high school's eating in the cafeteria, but again, they're spaced out because they're on that AB day, and it's a big space. And they've taken alternative areas. They've got them spaced out several locations for that. So, we're wearing masks on the bus because buses are crowded, and we keep the windows open as much as possible. So just that whole idea of social distancing and those protocols, and I've been really pleasantly surprised at the compliance that we've had among our students. You talked about parents being excited for their kids to come back to school. There were some kids on the first day, these little elementary kids were coming in, they were crying, they were so happy. They were just overwhelmed with emotion, and they didn't know why. I heard one testimony of a little first grader, and she was actually crying the night before, and they were like, what's wrong? And I don't know.
And they don't.
But they were so happy to be coming back, and that first day watching them come in after not having them with us for 5 months, it was, and they were doing whatever it takes to stay in school. And I guess that's where I fall on the mask issue and all that is, let's just do whatever it takes so we can hopefully stay in school and keep having school.
Do what it takes to stay, so the kids can stay in school.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love it.
I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, it's going to be our catchphrase. We're going to use it. So get over it. I don't know what else to say. So let's delve into a little bit about attracting teachers, attracting different talent, that kind of thing. And it's not a big surprise, and it's not something that people haven't seen, but there's not a lot of minorities as far as instructors and teachers. Can you enlighten on what we're maybe doing to attract them, or just a little bit of what you got going?
Well, ideally, we would like for our teaching population to mirror the demographics that we serve.
Lovely.
And we want good role models for all of our students. And, we really try to reach out and seek that. And I know in the last few years, we've even talked about what can we do to have more career visits to maybe traditionally black colleges and things like that. So we've had a lot of that in the works, and COVID kind of slowed us down on some of that in the spring, but absolutely welcoming those applications and looking for those. And also then I think it starts even at the high school level to try to encourage our students to choose those career paths and think about that because we want diversity in our workforce too. And so any ideas that you guys have, absolutely.
I would be happy to sit down with you, or if you have a committee, I'll be happy to be on it to help you.
Absolutely.
There's a lot, and I know a lot of times you get a lot of the the salaries are low, around this area or that kind of thing.
Yes.
But it's like, that can't be the only thing, so I'm glad to hear you say that you guys are actively looking to attract.
Yes, absolutely. And we talk a lot to, our minority teachers about outreach and try to involve them as well.
Good. What is our ratio, or what is our population as far as minority? I know, I was like, that might be a loaded question. She's like, I don't know.
No, I am very afraid to quote a number right now.
There's a range.
I think the range is probably around 20%. But I'll get crucified if I throw one out here because I off the top of my head, I can't tell you. But I know that we have quite a few different representations in that percentage. We have the black and Hispanic, and that's what maybe you think about at first, but then a lot of other as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what, and I say that because a lot of people think it's just black, white. Oh no, it is. It's Hispanic, it's Asian, it's that's diversity. It's not just these two groups. It's all of that pot.
That's right.
So that's a good thing to now and I guess when I ask about that, knowing that you were the superintendent of Harrison, Arkansas,
right?
Which
Just say it.
Which is predominantly white, and for public's sake, it's predominantly KKK country.
There you go. Just say it.
Yes.
Just say it.
So coming from there, I guess I'm curious to see the interaction you've had with different ethnic groups and how you're able to deal with situations that may arise here without having that kind of experience. As far as superintendent.
Gotcha.
You went to University of Arkansas, so I know you had some
Yes.
diversity.
Oh, yes.
And so that was a big question, so narrow that down.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we could go a lot of places with that. So yes, Harrison has that reputation.
Yes.
I will tell you that the headquarters is not Harrison, Arkansas. That group, if I could legitimize them in any way, shape, or form, which I don't even seek to. I don't even know what to call them. But they have a post office box that they keep in Harrison. So their literature has the Harrison post office box, but they are actually in a little family compound down a dirt road in a community called Zinc. But Harrison has never been able to shed that reputation. And I can tell you there are many lovely, lovely, fine people in that town that have worked extremely hard to try to shed that reputation. And when I was superintendent there, and even as assistant superintendent, when my husband and I moved back there in '07, I was on the task force for race relations. And we were very active with Martin Luther King events and the Martin Luther King Commission. They were up in our town and did a lot of fine work and made a lot of resolutions, with our city council and different groups. But they've just never been able to shed that.
Ever.
And sometimes I think it's advantageously promoted, but I don't think it's deserved. And then as far as my own experience, I can't even pretend that I know anything about delving into that world.
Right.
But I try. And we, growing up and then moving to U of A, I never really thought about it. It just wasn't anything that was ever really on my radar.
Okay.
And I know that when I got a counseling job one time in Springfield, Missouri, I worked at Pipkin Middle School, which had the highest minority rate. And my co-counselor, the other one there, was a black lady, Gloria, lovely lady. And she was on the interview committee that interviewed me, and she loved me. And then she told me later that she found out where I was from. And she said, "Oh, Lord, if you brought me this far to take me down now." And we became great friends, but she was a little afraid of me at first, and I had no idea. And it was just simply when she found out where I was from. So again, I think it's just one of those stereotypes that community has worked very hard to get rid of, but it persists. Yeah.
So anybody from Harrison, Arkansas, we want to help you shed that image. Hit us up on the Colbert Connection, colbertconnection@gmail.com. So you can be on our show and we will help you. We will help you. Yes.
So
I'll have to tell a few folks I know about that.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned that you had a task force, but I kind of want to throw that back into the school systems.
Okay.
Do you think it might be beneficial to have a diversity team, a diversity task force to help you recruit and retain minorities?
There's been talk about such things. So,
Hey,
yeah.
I'm open. We can get it started. I'm good. And along that line, if such a thing could be come to fruition, what are we doing as far as looking into putting more of the Black curriculum in our studies, and not just February, but just like we do any other history? What are we doing to possibly? And I know Macaulay has started that. And so where are we with maybe catching on and doing that also?
Well, a lot of our curriculums come to us kind of preset,
Okay.
and we're doing the Missouri Learning Standards, and then, we try to put literature and things out there that, includes those diverse, whatever. But I know Patricia Sly's mom, and I'm sitting here as we talk, drawing a blank on Miss Patricia's last name.
Patsy Robinson.
Oh, Patsy Robinson.
Yes,
Yeah, Mom.
yes. She and I have talked about that, and she's been up in my office, and we've visited, and she's gone to some events with me, and brought me examples as when she was a teacher.
Yes.
Cultural
Years.
awareness and things that she brought in. So we've actually had those conversations, with our curriculum director and our principals, and I think there's more of maybe a heightened awareness about it. I can't say we've arrived yet on that.
Definitely not.
We're still in the block.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. But again, ideas and things that people come across that they want to propose and bring forth, we very much welcome that.
Love it. Just even knowing that, because a lot of people, may not even know just something as simple as that.
Sure.
So it's appreciated that you even bring forth the openness.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it benefits all of us.
And then even more so to me, knowing that now you're from Harrison, but that you support it the way that you do, that just speaks volumes, I feel.
Absolutely.
Because you're like, okay, so then everybody from Harrison isn't that way.
No.
Because that's, like you say, that's the perception.
Stereotype.
Absolutely.
Yes. Which
Yeah.
we know about
Oh
stereotypes.
yeah, because we're like, oh, we will never travel through Harrison.
Oh
You
yeah,
know.
Gloria. You know, my friend that I was referencing, she told me that one. She said, "I love you, but I'll never go home
right.
with
Yeah,
you."
that's
and
right.
and you know, it's so sad. You know, but I remember one time we had a gentleman from Dallas visiting our district because we'd had a handicapped accessibility complaint. And so it was in an older building and some issues were grandfathered in, and we were doing the best we could to mitigate, you know, the accessibility codes, but it was his job to come up and investigate. And he was a white man. And, you know, I stayed with him as we went through the district because he wanted me right there.
Yes.
And I wasn't quite sure why, and I never asked, but, you know, and then toward the last day of his visit, he was measuring the pounds of pressure as we were opening the doors, you know, because we were down to that level. And one of our black students walked by, and I thought his head was going to spin off. He was like,
You just made my spin.
and he said, "You have black kids?" And I said, "Well, yes."
And I'm sitting here going, you do?
Yes. And he said, and he mumbled.
Here on the Colbert Connection.
He mumbled. He said, "Well, I guess you can't believe everything here." And I thought, you know, that is it.
That's the
That
bottom
is
line.
it. And I just let it go. You know, like what's the big deal? But sure, yeah, Harrison does. Yeah.
See, you learn. You're never too old to learn something. You're really not. And the day you stop learning, is probably the day you need to be on up out of here. Being open-minded to learn something. Because I truly would not have ever guessed. And because of that.
Because what we were taught is
Yeah.
there's places you don't stop when you
Yes.
need gas.
Yeah, it was
you make sure.
The old reputation of being
Right.
a sundown town.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
I am extra happy we had you on the show.
Well,
because-
good. I'm glad I could clear some of that
Yes.
up.
I mean, that's like lights going off. I'm kind of happy to know that. Not that I'm going to still, make a trip anytime soon. But
Well, but let me back up because there's.
But
probably
if you
people
wanted
that-
to, you'd be fine.
there you go. I take you with me.
But there's probably people
Okay.
that don't know what a sundown town is. So I take for granted that we know what that means.
Uh-huh.
Go
Well,
ahead,
I'm not
Joe.
even sure I would be articulate about that.
Well, I
so
mean, I don't think
I'd
there's
like
a
to hear
politically
that.
correct way to put it.
Ain't no
However,
political correct.
right,
It was-
it's not even sundown. We wouldn't stop when the sun was up, in some of towns, but there are some where they tell you
The signs
better
are
be
posted.
gone. Yes.
If you're black, the sun better
Don't
not
set.
catch you.
That's right.
They're not set on you being in this
That's
town.
right.
Period.
and that's what that and
Yes.
that's
And
like
they're
you said,
still
there's
out
still
there
signs
in
like
places.
that. Absolutely.
Yes.
Mm.
Jane, Missouri, places like that. Yes, I've seen one myself.
And look at that, and with the, I mean,
Yeah.
you're not old. You know what I'm saying?
I was
Like,
moving.
but yeah, I mean,
Give me a ticket because I'm flying through this town. But I'm just saying,
But
we
yes.
hope to get better.
that's all we can do is hope. And I think things that you have in place, like potentially putting in a diversity team or things of that nature to help,
Yes.
can only bridge gaps that we have, that we know we have.
And that's what it's about.
If not, we're wasting space. And
Absolutely.
we're doing nothing. So I really feel, like Mel said, call her up.
Hey,
I think
call
there's
me.
plenty of people
That would
around
love to be
that would need to.
And to be truthful, I really didn't, because my daughter went to TJ for 8 years, and I didn't do a lot. I graduated of course, from the Joplin school system, as did my older kids graduate from the Joplin school system, and just fine, And so it wasn't that I thought something was wrong with the school system. It's just, this opportunity is available, and I wanted, she was my 19-year span kid. So it was like, okay, well, let's try this for her. And no complaints whatsoever. And her adjustment has been no complaints
Good.
whatsoever.
Good.
And she actually loves it because she goes, I wear jeans like every day,
Well, and she was on our superintendent advisory
Yes.
council last year
Yeah,
before COVID happened.
And she enjoyed that,
Good.
actually.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's good to elevate the kids, to
Yeah.
treat them like adults and get their viewpoints.
And boy, she did
And
that.
she was a wonderful little participant.
Yeah,
So.
she's always got something to say. She'll let you know her thoughts. But so tell us something that you are looking, maybe your top 3 things, if you aside from COVID. I know that kind of threw a monkey wrench in everything.
Right.
But maybe like your top 3 things that you hope to achieve when you became superintendent, or you hope to instill or to meet some goals or anything like that. that you
Okay.
can think of.
Well, and thinking back over 3 years ago when I came to Joplin.
It's been 3 years, y'all. I'm so sorry.
It goes like that. It goes like that. I know. I can't believe it either. But I think one of the things that attracted me to Joplin is, of course, I knew of the tragedy of 2011 and all the things that happened, and I watched from afar the rebuilding and I just can't imagine the just gutted out persistence that this community had to have to keep thriving. And I hear stories and I just can't even relate and don't pretend to, but I can admire that. And what I sensed when I interviewed with the school board and looked into Joplin was that after that there's a certain stages of grief you go through, and there was that shock, and then there was the, just the head down working, not really thinking about much, and then there was that storming drama kind of thing that happens whenever there's a tragedy and some chaos that came out of that. But then what I sensed was that Joplin was ripe to really roll up their sleeves and just get on with it. And I felt like it was the perfect time to arrive in Joplin. And there was a heightened awareness of teacher voice and bringing unity to the district. And so that was my immediate goal. And I kind of feel like, we've done that to a certain degree. Looking at the salary schedule, Joplin needed to get its feet back under it and start competing with our neighboring districts, and so we've made some headway. COVID slowed us down with that, but we've made some headway on that. And then getting what I would like to call a guaranteed viable curriculum, because after all of that, there was just kind of even some chaos on the curriculum side of things, as is to be expected. Right. And so making sure that we had the same scope and sequence, so that if a student was at West Central one day and at Stapleton a few months later, or might go to Irving another time, that they were still going to follow the same sequence of learning, so that was in place. So what's the negotiables, and what can the teacher bring of their own flavor, because you have to have that. But then what are the non-negotiables in terms of math curriculum and English language arts and things like that? So we've made some good progress on that. We still have work to do. But I think that once we have that rolling, and proper teacher training that's been a part of that, we're going to continue to see our scores improve. It's just been hard to track that with all these changes and what tests the State Department decides to roll out each year, because we're trying to compare apples to apples and not apples to oranges. But having a good, engaging, and guaranteed curriculum would be another big goal of mine. And then just paying attention to the whole child. We've got student mental health and certain things on that aspect that we've got to pay attention to. So keeping that on track. But yeah. And you go look at our strategic plan. It talks about student readiness, which is that academic kind of learner support, as well as doing it effectively and efficiently. And I think with the voter approval in June for our bond election, that 79% positive was huge for us, and it was a real morale booster for our school. They said they do care, they do like us,
And
so.
I was going to mention that, or did you?
No, you go right ahead.
I was going to mention that about the bond issue passing for the new schools that are going to be built. The combination of Columbia and Jefferson,
West Central,
Columbia,
and then an addition at Kelsey Norman.
And an addition at Kelsey Norman. Because there was now people passed it, but of course, people talk afterwards. And the location,
Dover Hill, right?
Dover Hill.
Yes.
Coming off that, the main street, of course, and it being shifty, I guess you could say mine-ish area. Can you speak to that, the validity of that?
I'm not sure what you mean by the mining area, because Dover, we've done research, and we really haven't found any. There were some test holes. There's test holes along, like, down the hill, along Main, and then a little bit up Murphy, but as far as any mining that took place on that, we've not found that in our research. And any of the soil borings that have been done, have hit rock, and pretty consistently at about 15 feet throughout that. Of course, we know in Joplin,
Complete mind.
you can be fine in one spot and 3
Yes.
feet over you may have missed something.
Yes.
But there was
Many sinkholes.
nothing that we found that even touched the issues at Columbia.
Okay.
Because there you could see the big blob of where
Yes.
the feature actually was on that southeast corner.
So
But
when is
it
that-
seems to be a sound site.
Okay.
And of course, the city partnered with us for that, so it was efficient, for us. And finding that was the issue. A lot of the properties that we looked at wouldn't pass muster, either on reclamation or, test holes or whatever,
Or even big enough.
or even big
Yeah,
enough.
not enough
And you got to
space.
pay attention to traffic patterns and egress and ingress and all of that. So Dover really did fit the bill, and it had enough acreage that we could fully utilize that 17.5 acre site so that we could position it to, be as advantageous as we could. And what a statement for Joplin as people are approaching our town, that's what they see, and right across from the college, and I think it'll be a nice welcome to the town. Most of our schools are kind of tucked away and hidden away, and unless it's a destination, you don't really know they're there. And I think it breeds support when you see that visibility that will afford us. So I think it's good on many levels.
It's going to be pretty. It's like the ones that they was like, oh, these are, hey, make you want to go back to school. Not really.
No.
Yeah. How pretty the building is.
And now Irving is beautiful.
Yes. From
Beautiful.
soaring heights,
Yeah.
all beautiful.
Beautiful.
But yeah,
They
we're
won't go
happy.
back
We're
anytime
happy
soon.
for those kids.
Right.
We're very happy for them. So.
Any final words from you for the viewers?
Oh,
about
my
Something
goodness.
you want them to know.
Well, I just want them to know how truly thrilled we are to have our kids back in school. And we're ready to do whatever it takes to keep that going.
Yes.
And so I would just ask that not just when you're in school, because most of what we're seeing with our isolation and quarantines are happening from either household or community spread at this point. So it's not just what happens in the school building, it's how we're behaving and what we're doing when we're out and about. So, I would just ask, keep partnering with us. And if you have concerns, let us know. And just keep washing those hands and wearing those masks. And hopefully, we'll keep rolling.
That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. Thank you.
You're
We
welcome.
appreciate you.
You're welcome. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so that's a lot. I mean, I'm Harrison, Arkansas, y'all. I mean, who knew? I'm ready to go take a trip down there now.
Not with me, she won't. No, it's fine.
But like I said, that was a good point she
Absolutely.
brought out.
Absolutely.
Stereotypes can happen to any group.
That's right.
To any place, to anything. And we really need to, you have to make an active effort to keep those down,
Absolutely.
We don't like it, so they probably don't like
right.
it either.
Absolutely right.
You're
And
right.
I worked that job where I was in and out of stores
Yes.
all the time, and I was
You're still in and out of stores.
No, well that's shopping. That's a different deal.
Yeah.
But small towns, St. Elizabeth, Missouri,
Never heard of
Chamois, Missouri, all these.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. You probably won't. However, I was in there, and it was because, like she said, the sundown cities. I would text my dad. I'd be like, "This is where I'm going.
Yes.
If I don't hear from you.
Yeah.
I should be 20." Like these, when I tell you, they were the most efficient calls I ever had to make. Like orders done. I mean, the whole 9 was done in like 15 minutes. You're good. I'm good. All right. Call me if you need. One of those situations. But that's real.
Yeah.
And like you say, small town Missouri or small town Arkansas, Oklahoma, it's very real.
Midwest.
Yes. Now I met some of the coolest people in some of those places.
Yes.
So I definitely, some of those visits became a little bit longer, but there were definitely some of those where you did get that, you got that vibe. Like when you walked in the store and everything stopped, you were like, "This is okay."
And unfortunately, that's a realism. I mean, we're not trying to pimp. It's a reality, and you have to live and exist in this reality. And so you have to be aware of your surroundings.
Yes, I was not trying to be a hashtag.
That's
how we're gonna play. All right, I'm out. I'm good.
I even tell my husband that, like when we're traveling, he will stop at the most It's a bathroom. It's a gas station.
No,
I'm like,
sir.
but it looks like from 1940.
No, sir.
You want me and your wife and your daughter to go in here? Come on now. I mean, but for men, it's never really a
It's
big
not the same
deal.
thing.
But yeah, we keep rolling until we get to like a McDonald's somewhere.
So funny story, since I have a minute to tell you. My friend Jen, and we were great friends. She's from a small town, Chamois, Missouri, and that's why I was there. But outside of that, her aunt owned the store, so it was all good when I was down there. But anyways, we were on a trip to Memphis, so we went to a lot of small towns. And I was like, no, we can't stop here. She was pregnant. We can't stop here. She's like, what do you mean? She was like, I gotta use the restroom. I go, no, but we can't stop here. And she was like, Danica, quit playing. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, so I go, roll the window down, and she's walking. And she's like, you don't want anything? No, I'm good. I go, just tell them I'm your driver.
Yeah. We laughing. We're kind of serious.
But she and I, we talked like right after George Floyd happened, and she's like, oh my gosh, I had that moment where I understood everything you and I ever talked about. But she's so animated and fun, but we laughed and we joked the rest of the way, but she knew, like, you really meant that.
Yes.
I'm like, I absolutely meant that, because
Absolutely.
I was trying to make it to the destination.
That happened to me on the way back from, we was coming from San Diego to Fort Riley, Kansas, taking my friend back to the base. And she wanted to stop in some, and she's like, well, let's go eat here. And I'm like, I'm not hungry. I mean, I don't know any other way. She's like, what? I was like, yeah, no, we're going to go to a nice lit place that's, and you don't want to, they think, we are not saying that to be, it is just true. It is just true.
Look, have y'all ever seen Life? I feel like them's white only pies. Like, I feel like that was where you were going with that movie.
You say 35 miles down the road?
That's where we go to go. But if you haven't seen it, you have got to watch it.
Yeah,
But
for that alone,
reason, yes. But
just pull up Life and Pies.
yeah,
It should be
you will see
YouTube
it. But sorry, carry on with the
No,
rendition.
that's
where you were
that's
going.
Yes, that is. Anyway, we are so glad you joined us tonight, and next week.
Next week is going to be an interesting, very different type of session for us.
We have a panel.
A panel. BMW panel.
Yes. Tell them what BMW means.
Mel came up with this. You tell them what it means. Tell them what it means, boss.
He remembered.
What it means. Black males that are winning in Joplin.
Yes.
We do have some winning.
Yes.
And we've got some ready to come to the show.
Yes.
And tell you about situations that they've had here in town. Want to talk
and
about
really,
it?
they're just to talk.
And
put them in a different light, because so many times our black males are seen in a negative light. Well, we're going to elevate their platform, and
some of them don't need, because the more you talk, the bigger,
Yeah, it's going to be funny. I guarantee you, it's
Yes.
going to be funny. So join us next Tuesday.
Who's
at
on the
6
panel?
o'clock.
Can we tell the people?
Yes,
Okay. On the panel,
our own casting director.
Vic Sly will be on the panel.
Yes.
Whoop, whoop. Also on the panel,
Troy Thomas.
Whoop, whoop.
He's like entrepreneur since he was 10.
yes, and just retired now.
Just retired.
50. He just barely hit 50.
Just hit 50. Oh,
Retired.
Sorry, we just
oh,
put your
sorry, but I'm
age
telling.
out
I'm
there.
telling it.
Well,
look,
anyway.
look, just hit 50 and retired.
Yes.
So, Delonte Colbert, my favorite.
Yeah, my cousin, her brother.
He's not retired, but he works hard.
He's special.
He-
We're happy to have him.
And
It's going to be a funny
absolutely,
but enlightening show.
it's gonna be a good time.
And Terrence
Terrence can sing, y'all.
can sing, and he is a student out at is he a
Missouri.
student?
I have no idea.
But
we'll find out next
I
week.
think he's a student out Missouri Southern. Yes, because there's not a lot of teachers.
But I want to have him sing though.
Yes, he's going to sing, but we're going to have some fun. Join us next week, Tuesday, 6 o'clock on the Colbert Connection. Thanks.
See y'all.